Welcome to Sipping on Excellence. This is Coach KJ, and I'm here with my man, my dude, the Doc.
And this is where we will be discussing the exceptional that is absolutely attainable. My friends, here's to living that extraordinary life.
Cheers.
All right.
All right. Oh, boy.
Let's bring that heat today. Let's bring that heat.
Well, we brought the heat before we got started. Oh, we weren't playing.
We coming in hot.
Hey. Boy, both of us. Both of us.
Welcome to another episode of Sipping on Excellence, y'all, with Coach KJ and your man, Doc.
How you doing, man?
Coming at you live, man. Coming at you live today. Bringing that funk. Let's go.
No stank.
Yeah,
just
man.
funk.
No, just we took a little hiatus last week, and now we back at it.
Right. People like,
we did a best of on YouTube. Go check it out.
Right.
It's a nice little introduction to what we do every week.
Yeah.
You know,
We'll start throwing a few extra things
Yeah.
out there at you. You know what I'm saying? Just visual.
Yeah,
Visual
just
stimulus.
check out what we doing, man.
Yeah.
You know, but
See what we look like.
those of you who are just, checking us out for the first time, we are straight from the dome. This is not prepared.
No.
This is a straight up conversation, as they should be.
Yep. We come up with a topic and say, oh, well, this is what we're going to talk about.
Straight shots.
We'll talk about it after.
Straight shots, no chasers. Sometimes y'all get a little rubbed a little different. Mm-hmm. Y'all feel like your feathers get ruffled. Guess what? We don't give a fuck.
That means it was meant for you.
Exactly. But yeah, we've had some interesting conversations on the live lately that it's interesting how on our lives people fire off the stuff that they don't like, but then they go back and my response to them all the time is, you weren't listening. So go listen and then come back. And every time it's apologetic. Mm-hmm. What is it with people hearing, and we hate this word, a trigger word, and tuning out the rest of the statement because they heard a word and they're ready to fire back? And that goes with that whole listening to respond. And once they hear that word, let's respond.
But at the same time, they want to say they have good communication skills.
Yeah. And but
if you
do
can't
they
listen? Yeah. If you can't listen, that's the largest component of having good communication skills.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where people need to learn.
Yeah.
Fuck that. It ain't about learning. You listened. Put it this way. You listened before you could talk because that's how you learned to talk.
That's correct.
You listened to your parents and you sometimes understood the meaning behind the tone of your parents. You could tell without them saying anything just by hearing your name. You knew they were upset, happy, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. So when did you learn to stop listening? When it didn't suit you.
Right.
If it wasn't something that you wanted to hear, you stopped hearing it.
It's laziness. It's absolute laziness. Not taking the time to listen is laziness. I'm sorry, it is.
Or listening to the words and then trying to put your own meaning to what we were talking about. Mm-hmm. Like when we were talking about how no woman wants a broke man. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, it was, define broke. No money, motherfucker. That's what we were talking about. We weren't talking about nothing else.
Yeah, but it became all the, like,
it
broken.
It went off on tangents.
He did, look, broke, no money. That was it. Financial. That's all we were talking about. But it flew.
And here's the funny thing, and this is one thing I've noticed too. Have you ever noticed how women are quick to point out a broke man, right?
Yes.
Have you ever heard a woman call another woman broke?
No.
Never have. No. Have you ever heard a man call a woman broke?
No.
Why do you think that is?
Because it's not of concern.
Thank you.
It's not. It's not on the table. If she has money, it's like, oh, well, that's a bonus, but it's a bonus to who? Only her.
We will never look at a woman and be like, oh, that broad's broke. No. A woman will never, and a woman won't ever say her girlfriend is broke or that woman is broke. And we're just talking financially. We're not talking anything else. So don't go reading into this. We'll get into the rest in a minute. But they'll never say, okay, she doesn't have a job. Is she broke? Well, no, she just doesn't have a job. She's just unemployed. Well, he doesn't have a job. Is he broke? Yeah, that dude broke as shit.
Yep. Every single time.
I don't know that I've ever called a woman broke.
But why is it of a concern?
It's not.
It's not. Exactly.
But it's very concerning if a man's broke.
Right.
And so when we brought that up and everybody's like, well, a rich man can be broke. No, a rich man financially is not broke.
Right.
So stop trying to make other and this is what I mean. It's like you say one thing and everybody wants to talk around the subject you're talking about when I'm just like, no, we're talking about this. And because we said you don't want a broke man, you're like, well, no, a rich man can be broke if he's stop.
You're talking about the
esoteric shit.
Yeah, his life. He's by himself. His family of origin. We're not talking about that. We're talking about money. Now, broken is a completely different thing.
And men and women alike can be broken.
Right.
I've met some broken women in my day. Mm-hmm. I've met some dudes that are broken. Mm-hmm. And we talked about this a little bit on the live, and we were like, you know what, dude, why don't we dive deeper into it as a podcast? So,
right.
Here we go, y'all. Since we got to clarify shit for people these days. Oh, y'all caught us on a day and we're a little heated.
Yeah.
Man. Tired of people doing dumb, selfish shit.
Yes. Yes. Only looking in to themselves.
Here's a quote that I heard, and it's just, it's true for men. It's true for people. Hustle like you're broke. Not like you're broken. Hustle like you're broke. Meaning no matter how much money you have, if you act like you're broke, you're going to always try to do more. You're going to try to be more. That's that whole climbing the mountain but never reaching the top. We're just going to continue going. That doesn't mean a rich man could be broke. A rich man can have a broke man's mentality. And a rich man with a broke man's mentality is how you get that man to be more successful than he is. Meaning, I'm still trying to work. I'm still trying to hustle. I'm still trying to get more. That there's a broke mentality, and then there's just being broke. There's plenty of dudes who are broke who don't have a broke mentality. Look at all the people who rent the fancy cars, buy the fake Rolex.
You know what that's like. We both lived in Atlanta. That was very hot. It's very heavy.
I'm going to show you
that mentality, man.
That I want to be rich, but I am broke as shit. Or I have just enough money to spend it all and become broke looking rich.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are also the same people that drop names.
Yes.
You're out. They're always with this person. They're with that particular person. Oh, yeah, we went out. We did X, Y, and Z. I was hanging with this person. I'm like, yeah, okay. But what are you doing?
And the funny thing is, people will call that dude broke, right? But what do you say about the woman who spends a month's salary getting that one Chanel bag, but lives with 5 women, who doesn't have a job or who has a job that pays minimum wage, and she rocks that same purse every time she goes out? Nobody will ever call her broke.
The one that still have the tags in her outfit.
Right. Nobody will ever call her broke because it's not cool to say a woman's broke. I'm sorry. In that scenario, you broke.
Yeah.
And both scenarios, you guys have broken mentalities.
Yes, Absolutely.
Both the man and the woman in those two scenarios we talked about.
Yes. Your spirit, your mindset, your ability to function, to actually learn to hustle. Because you can't hustle in that mindset. I'm sorry, there's absolutely no way that you can hustle with a broken mindset.
No, you can't.
No, because you're stuck.
So what makes, I was going to say what makes a broken man, but that's not what I'm going to ask.
Okay.
What do you think are the common things, the most common things that will break a man?
One, relationships.
I was just about to say the number one thing that can break a man is his woman.
Yeah.
Not a woman, his woman.
Not a job, not your mama, a woman.
A woman can ultimately break a man.
Yeah.
And we're not talking financially. We're talking about breaking his spirit, can break his motivation, can break him down as a man and take his manhood. Mm-hmm. And so what's interesting, a guy's mom typically will never try to break him.
Correct.
A guy's boys will never try to break him. I don't know if you can be broken by your boys.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's relationships that are the number one thing that breaks a man.
Yeah. You don't think that I don't think that a mother can, I think she could, especially if he's a mama's boy, possibly break his spirit because she knows how to pull his tails.
Right.
But, and I don't know. I still, because I'm thinking it through, you know what I mean? I'm trying to figure out, like.
Think about this. When a man and a woman get divorced, we talk about this all the time, and typically it's the woman leaving the man. When she leaves him, when she takes half his shit, the financial hit is hard, but can be recouped. What she takes from him as a man, she breaks him. And she breaks him for other women until he heals himself, till he heals that break himself.
Yes.
You know, it's just like a man who abuses a woman. If a man breaks her leg, that broken leg will heal. But what he did to her when he broke her for other men. Mm-hmm. Like that whole concept of now I'm going to trust a man again. When a man cheats on her, when that trust is broken, that trust never gets mended. You can put duct tape on it. You can do everything you can to try to hold it together, but it doesn't mend completely. It's weaker than the bond that was there initially. When a man physically or mentally abuses, the next man has a real hard way to go if he meets her when she is still broken.
Correct.
And the problem is, most people, when they're broken, they want other people to be responsible for healing them. And so I'm going to bring my shit to you with the hopes that by being with you, it's going to heal me. When that's not the case.
That's just a Band-Aid.
We said it before. The only person responsible. Now, if I'm the one that broke you and you're with me, then it's my responsibility to help you heal. And if that helping you heal means I have to go, then that's still me helping you heal.
Right.
But if I meet you and you're broken, the last thing I should do is try to get into a relationship with you.
Yeah.
But so many people do that and wonder why the relationship doesn't work.
Yeah. I think the importance of, like what you said, the first part, if two parties, if a relationship was fractured in some capacity, it's important for that person that fractured the relationship to do his due or her due diligence to help heal with the person. They have to stand by their side. They have to take it on the chin. They have to, because it's not about, it's beyond just what you did. It's how they feel. And you have to help pull them out of that. But
if the damage you created is too great,
right,
then you just have to go.
Yes.
And that's if your presence is like putting salt in the wound,
correct,
then in order for them to heal, you have to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then that person has to heal. You have to get the help you need. You have to do whatever you can, to heal before you go jump into the arms of the next person, hoping they can be that suture to close the wound. Nah, that shit needs to heal on its own.
Yeah. And the person that actually fractured the relationship, that person has to also work on healing because they're going to become broken in many ways.
Funny
They
thing
can
is,
be.
a lot of those people don't know that they're broken.
No.
Here's an interesting thing, too. Think about it like this. Say you're in a relationship with somebody and you want one thing, but yet you guys didn't communicate your expectations and wants.
Which happens very often.
And then later on, you realize I'm not bringing to the table what you feel you need out of a relationship, and we have to bounce. But now there's feelings in it. So you are now heartbroken because we have to go our separate ways. I'm fine because I wasn't in love with you, but you're not fine because you were in love with me. Is it my responsibility to try to heal that? No, right?
No.
It's just, you know what? I need to bounce because this isn't healthy, and so I'm out.
Yeah.
Now you need to get over me, or vice versa. I need to get over you however I can. That doesn't involve bringing someone else into the picture.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's another way you can be broken. That's nobody's fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's just lack of communication on both parts that breaks that thing.
Yeah. I because when I went through my divorce, I was broken and I showed out. But I had the mindset, like, I started identifying how I was sounding, how I was realizing how people were responding back to me, not wanting to speak to me because I was in this negative space. And you can see the energy. They start pulling away. They stop asking you questions.
Right.
They just say, hey, and they just keep moving.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, shit, they didn't talk to me. Oh,
They didn't want to be a part of
They
that.
didn't want to be a part of that. Everything.
They're like, Coach ain't healed.
Yeah. But, got involved with a couple of people that helped me understand. I started doing deeper dives into myself and started working on me. Didn't think about anybody else. Just working on me. Within months, I'm out of that.
Well, and here's the other thing, too. Part of that healing process may be going back into the dating game, the world, and showing yourself that you're worthy of love again, which means I'm going to date a few times. I'm going to see people. I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, my shit is still together. And I need that reassurance. Maybe that's part of my healing process. But don't bring anybody else into your shit if you're still in the depths of your shit.
Right. Do not put that shitty ass jacket on and walk in on a date with that. It stinks.
It's
and
fucking
it
terrible.
will stink her, and then you have a problem with her, and you're gonna have a problem. You need to clear your shit first, and you don't have to have it completely clear. I believe that as you're on that rise, you start feeling a little decent. You feel, I like me today. You can start having those conversations with people. Believe me, you will not want to have those conversations with people if you are in a shitty place. I promise you that.
And then you start thinking about types of men that are broken, that don't even know they're broken. The narcissist. You know, the guy who believes the world revolves around him.
We know one of those.
Yeah. You know, you have people who, yes, you have everything the world can throw at you. You have the money, the fame, the whatever it may be, but you're a broken individual because of either your past that you haven't healed from, your upbringing, or you let the hype of you change you. And from the outside, people won't see you as broken, but the people who you deal with every day, that woman in your life or that dude in your life, they see the shitty side of you. And the outside world is like, well, I don't understand. He's this, that, and the other, but he's still broken. You know, that's why you see so many wealthy people that are miserable. Why? They're unhappy because they're broken.
Yeah.
You ain't broke. You got $1 billion, but you broken.
You're broken. Yeah. But even their friends, you know, a good friend will see it. And they will tell you about yourself. But they're only going to tell you about yourself but so many times.
Right. And then they're just going to distance themselves.
Exactly.
Wow, you don't hang out that much anymore. You know, I'm busy, man. Because there's only so many times you got to be like, dude, you're acting like an asshole. You know, or the broken guy who you think he's got his shit together, but every weekend he's out getting hammered. He's not out getting hammered because he's the fun guy.
No.
He's out getting hammered every weekend because he's got that stress is breaking him. You know, the high profile, you know, I've been watching Suits lately, you know, just rewatching it.
Yeah.
And you see people who have these high profile jobs, high stress jobs, they end up having unresolved issues with people they work with or unresolved issues with their family. Those people are broken. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing that you haven't healed. So when I say you're broken, I'm not saying you're tainted goods or nobody should want you. I'm just saying you haven't healed from the shit you need to deal with. Some people don't even know they're broken.
Yeah. So it made me think what you were just saying is like people are so adamant about protecting their profile instead of protecting the possibilities, protecting their own spirit or building their own spirit. They're protecting an ideal of how they're perceived. They're protecting this image. They think they know how they're perceived, but people see otherwise, or people are not close enough to actually see otherwise.
Here's the funny thing. I saw somebody say the other day, if you're a man over 40 who's single, never married, and had no kids, then you're broken. There's something wrong with you. I saw this on social media. And I was thinking to myself, and I was like, well, why is that? Why? They're like, there has to be something wrong with you if you haven't gone that path. So there must be something in your past that's keeping you from blah, 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 blah. And I look at myself and I'm like, all right, why haven't I been married? Why don't I have kids? Why haven't I gone down the road? And I'm 50, about to be 52 years old. And it's not that there's something in my past. I was in a shitty relationship where I got treated bad. None of that. I've come across some cool chicks in my day. Doesn't mean I wanted to marry them. Nothing wrong with them. Nothing wrong with me. Who said this? Was it Bill Burr? One of these comedians. We haven't quoted a comedian in a while.
No, we have not.
If you knew that you were going to go skydiving and there's a flip of a coin chance that your parachute won't open, would you still skydive?
You won't get on that plane.
There's worse chances. It's not even 50-50 anymore. There's a higher likelihood if you get married that you'll probably get divorced. Knowing those odds, what's the incentive? So it doesn't mean that I'm broken.
Right.
It just means I haven't come across somebody that's worth that risk.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
And the older I've gotten, the risk to my mental health, my financial health, my physical health goes up because I have way more to lose
Right.
now than I did when I was 25.
Right.
I met some cool people when I was growing up,
But
I was 20. I was 30. You know?
exactly.
So don't think I was broken but it was funny that I saw that and I was like, and these were women, a panel of women that were saying that. And it's okay. But if we say, if you're a woman over 40 and you're childless and never been married, then you're broken, we'd get crucified.
With cats.
Yeah, we'd get crucified.
Absolutely. What is it about social construct? Because marriage, that life is a social construct.
Yeah.
What is it about the social construct that someone has given to me and now I must spew this energy onto you, and you're not worthy if you are not here. You
haven't reached your full
worthless.
potential if you don't have a wife.
It's like
What the fuck sense does that make?
It's like telling someone, no matter what you've done and all the accolades, that you're worthless. How do you do that to someone?
You hear it all the time.
Absolutely.
You hear it all the time. And I just laugh it off because I'm like, so you would rather me live a life of misery so I could check a box to be good in your eyes? When I look at you and your marriage sucks.
I was going to say.
You tell me your marriage sucks.
So who's the broken one?
Yeah.
Who's the broken one?
The one who's happy single or the one who's in a broken marriage?
That math don't be mathing.
And to say that and to assume that I'm 50 so I'll never go there, I may never. We talked about commitment in marriage.
Correct.
There's a lot of married people that aren't committed, and there are a shit ton of committed people that aren't married. Mm-hmm. Who's more broken? The committed person that's not married or the married person that's not committed? Y'all know that answer. Mm-hmm. So when I see shit like that or I have these conversations with people, and what's funny is when I tell people men in general would be completely content having a committed girlfriend for life. I'm with you, you're with me, we're good.
Goldie Hawn.
I heard somebody having a conversation. I was listening to a podcast, and it was a panel of men and women.
Okay.
And they were saying, say you, and we talked about this, how you introduce your partner at a function or whatever it may be. We as men are never stuck on labels. Women, when you introduce me, if I'm something to you, you better let everybody know what that is. Mm-hmm. And every woman on this panel was like, absolutely, you better introduce me as your girlfriend, your wife, your fiance, whatever it may be. You need to make it known when you walk in, or else you and I are going to have a problem in the car. But yet, if your woman's going to a function and her business does better if people assume she's single, dude's going to be like, I'm going to stay home. You go handle your business. Mm-hmm. Or if I'm there, hey, that's Kenny. Cool. You know what I mean? You're not going to get bent out of shape because you know what this means for her. In this male-dominated environment, I need to use whatever I can to keep this rolling. So if they need to think I'm single, take one of your girlfriends with you. You know, take your girlfriend with you to this function. You don't need me to go. Women have a hard time reciprocating that. It's this need to feel whole. And a woman, as she gets older, if she's single and childless and it's something that she thought she's always wanted, she starts to feel like she's broken. And I'm saying this only because a woman told me this today. She's like, the older I get and I just can't figure out how to find that dude to settle down with me, I feel like I'm incomplete. And I was like, and since I knew we were going to be talking about this today, I was like, oh, you feel like you're broken? She's like, yeah. I was like, you put that on yourself.
It's like having a Louis Vuitton bag when you go purchase it, but they put it in a trash bag. You mad, so you just like,
yeah,
I can't do this. It has to be in the box.
Yeah, and it's like you feel like you're broken. Why? Why are you putting that on yourself? No man looks at you as broken unless you come with the attitude of a broken individual. If you come with the mindset of a broken individual, not broke, but broken. Individual, you're going to pick up on that, like the energy you talked about.
Oh, it's
and
absolutely.
You're not going to heal because you can't get past the fact that nobody gives a shit if you're 40. There's dudes out there that are like, whew, I'm glad she doesn't have the baggage of a kid at the time. I'm glad she doesn't have a baby daddy that I have to deal with. I'm glad that she's never been divorced. These are all things that somebody can bring into a relationship. You know, I had a woman say, I would much prefer a man who's had kids and been divorced because I know he's not, there's nothing wrong with him. Because if he's my age and hasn't done all that, then he's broken.
Right.
So a man doesn't look at you the same way. He's not going to be like, oh, why'd you get to be 45 and not married? You just didn't want to be. I was climbing that corporate ladder. But if you come off with that broken mentality of, I haven't had it, now I'm trying to rush you to make that decision and lock me down, that's a broken mentality because you didn't meet your time frame and your clock.
Yeah. It's unfair.
Yeah.
And it's and
you put your clock on us.
yeah. And it's unfair to us, but guess who you're being most unfair to? Yourself.
You're putting way too much pressure on you.
Yeah. And you know what? Nobody wants that pressure.
No.
You want to see him run fast? Do that.
A man wants to fall in love with you at his pace. And he's not going to until you've healed.
And guess what? A nice guy will follow suit with whatever you're doing.
A nice guy will try to help you heal, and you won't respect him for that.
Right.
A good guy is going to be like, go fix yourself and then come back to me.
Yeah. Or the nice guy is not even going to try to help her heal. But he's going to take the pain of whatever
you throw at him.
Yeah. So it'll become his fault, which will make it easier on you. So you can. I got my dartboard now.
Yep.
And you'll keep rolling.
I got my mat to wipe my shoes on.
Right.
Anything time something goes to shit because of me, I'm going to put it on you so that way I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah. So I can be good.
Make you the scapegoat. And like I said, a good guy isn't going to take that shit. A good guy's going to be like, aha. And he's going to notice it. He's going to notice it. Right. He's going to notice it early on.
Yes, he is.
And he's going to see it and be like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm going to help you right now.
Slow up, trigger.
Go deal with your shit. I'm going to be over here working on the 20 things I need to work on. You come back to me once you've figured out how you can get past whatever the hell it is that's broke you.
And I can't promise you that I will be here.
No, you come back. And if this shit is still good, you may realize when you're healed that I'm not the one for you. You may realize when you're healed that the broken you wanted me, the healed you needs something completely different.
Correct.
And that's okay. Doesn't mean something's wrong with me. It just means you weren't ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the man you now want and need in your world isn't the same man you thought you wanted and needed when you were broken. Same thing with a dude.
Yeah.
You know, you meet a woman when you're all fucked up and she happens to be the nurturer that you need her to be in those moments when she wasn't the reason for your shit.
Correct.
Once you've healed and she's healed you, you realize that shit's annoying. I don't want that shit anymore. I don't like that all. And so then you're at odds for her with her because she's now too much of what you don't need right now.
Right.
When you were broken, you needed all of it.
Yeah.
Now that's not what you need. So now you're resenting her because now she's annoying. She's getting on your nerves, whatever it may be. Heal yourself first and then go find the woman that you need.
And also understand that being healed doesn't mean you're always going to be fully healed. You're always going to be healing. But one of the biggest things about when you're healing that's going to make you feel better and be more healed is when you identify that if you're broken, if you say, this is where I am, but this is not who I am. When you start getting away from identifying yourself as that person, that shitty person or whatever it is that you were, but you now become, you're like, that was an aspect of me. It's not who I am.
Well, people too often let their good shit and their bad shit define them.
Yes.
All the good shit about you isn't who you are. They're just traits of you.
Exactly.
The good shit and the bad shit, mix it all up in a pot. That's who you are.
That's who you are.
Because that's what creates your character. That's what creates everything. And you got to have a little shit in there as well as the bad. I mean, the good, because that's just how you grow.
And then honestly, do you want anybody with shiny armor?
Well, here's the thing.
You want chinks in that armor. You've been through a little war.
But here's the thing. When you've been through that war, the person who you're meant to be, the person who wants you, the person who needs you, doesn't see the scars because you've healed from them. They just see you. Mm-hmm. The person who shouldn't be with you notices the scars more than they notice you. Mm-hmm. They see the scar on Scarface's eye. Mm-hmm. The person who likes Scarface sees Tony Montana. Mm-hmm. The person who looks at him as like damaged goods sees Scarface. Mm-hmm. You know, and so that person that you're ready to be with once you're healed, those scars are not going to be a deterrent because that person won't even see the scars. They won't look and think to themselves, what created the wound? How do I open those up again?
Yeah.
The asshole is going to see the scar and wonder about the wound and kind of continue to push to dig deep and see, well, what created that? What created that?
Well, how did you get that? What were you doing? How did you get there? What were you doing before that?
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. It's
a shitty person won't let you heal.
Right.
Or a shitty person the person that's not for you won't recognize the fact that you've healed. The person that's meant for you won't know that, like I said, won't know that you've been through shit in the first place because none of it's going to come out when you're with that person because you've healed from that. Now, he could easily create new wounds by doing some other dumb shit, or they could reopen some of the old ones. But in the beginning, if you got that wound that's still a little raw, anything the other person does is going to create a bigger opening because everything about that person is going to remind you of the shit that you've been through, unless it's healed. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's just it's wild how that broke versus broken. For all you out there, broken doesn't mean you're financially broke.
Right.
And financially broke doesn't mean you're broken. I know some motherfuckers who have no money, who just they're broke for now. Mm-hmm. The guy who's broke and who ain't doing shit to become unbroke is broken.
He's broken.
the guy who's broke but on his grind.
He's on his hustle.
He's on his hustle. Yeah. He's doing his thing.
Yeah.
He's not broken.
And he's not worried.
No, at all. He's handling his business.
He's this only for now. This only for now.
The rich guy who's always miserable, treats people like shit, he's broken. Mm-hmm. The rich guy who is grateful every day for what he has, the rich guy who gives more than he receives, the rich guy who takes care of everyone around him, that dude is not broken. There are people out there that will try to break him. Mm-hmm. There are people that will try to take advantage of him. Or her, but because they're in that state of mind where they're like completely unbothered, don't mistake a guy who's at peace for a guy who's broken. Mm-hmm. That happens.
Right.
A guy who's by himself and at peace, the only way you can break him is to disrupt that peace.
And if
I would have said a woman at peace.
Yeah.
Do you know any?
No.
Like we said before, they don't know how to be.
No. I think it's scary that there is such a struggle.
It is.
I think it's almost mind-boggling, and it creates a level of tension in me at first, and then you have to back up and say, no, this is what she's dealing with.
But here's the thing. In their mind, that is at peace because running 100 miles an hour in their brain and they're handling it all, that's where they find peace. And we look at it as like, oh, that shit's off the wall. I can't keep up. I handle it. And so when we say you guys don't know how to be at peace, you guys as women don't know how to be at peace the way that we view peace. So don't take it as an insult. It's just how we see you and how we view you. And so we don't consider your level of anxiousness about life and your kids and all that as being broken. That's just you and how you function.
That's what you're dealing with.
But if you have a guy who's at that same level of anxiousness, anxiety, worrying about the world, all that, he's broken because men are supposed to be here. Mm-hmm. And there's something he's not healing from, which doesn't allow him to deal with the stresses of everyday life. Mm-hmm. You guys handle it. And you do this, but you handle it. A man doing this, there's something wrong with him. I'm going to tell you that now because the average man doesn't do this.
And when he does do that, you're going to see it. It's going to come out in so many ways. And it's not.
And for those who aren't watching us, I was moving my hand up and down like a roller coaster.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, he's going to project, and it's not going to be good for anybody. Mm-mm.
So it's little things like that are small breaks in character that are problems that need to be mended. Mm-hmm. You know, anything out of the norm, not even going to say norm, anything that is unconventional that causes a disruption in your everyday life, and it's a character flaw within you, that means you're broken. Not because other people don't like it. It's because you look in the mirror and you find a problem with yourself. If you look in the mirror and be like, God, I got issues, those are small breaks. So you're broken in different aspects of your life. If you can look in the mirror and say, you know what? I am completely happy with who I am. Mm-hmm. Then I won't say you're broken. Right. If you can't look in the mirror, if you look in the mirror and say, I don't know anything about myself that I'm really completely happy with, that's a problem. Especially if you're in a relationship. Then you need to sit down and be like, all right, if my relationship is on the rocks and I can't look in the mirror and say, I'm happy with the person I am, then your relationship will never be fixed because you're broken. Regardless of the issues the other person has.
Right. We're not talking about that.
Because the other person needs to do the same thing you're doing,
right,
which is self-reflection.
Right.
You know?
Right. Right. And if you're in a relationship and you see those breaks, it is your job as a partner to help them see the breaks. I think.
It just depends on how you help them see it.
Exactly. Yeah. But you have to in micro dosages.
Right.
But I think
You can't just slam a whole shroom.
no. But I think one of the biggest problems with most relationships is the lack of communication and not being clear with who you have to know what you want.
You can't be accusatory.
No.
You are this. No, that doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
You have to be like, you know what? I think we're at odds because I'm noticing this when you say or do this. Do you notice it? Do you notice me and my reaction when you do or say this? Why do you do that? And make them reflect on, like, well, why do I do that?
Or if they are accusatory, you say about something you've done, and you say, what do you think I'm thinking about when you say that? When you say that to me, what do you think that I'm thinking about? Do you think that I'm overlooking it? What are you thinking I'm going through when you're feeling that? I just want to know. I just want to be clear. So that way we can be clear. Because I think that there's a lot of times they don't, because we're not communicating well. There's a lapse. There's a glitch. There's a glitch in the matrix.
Right.
Yeah. And we got to find all them zeros.
Yeah, got to figure it out.
Yeah. You have to. You have to. But you have to. I think you have to start getting to the point. All you're trying to do is bridge the gap, man. I say that all the time. He's just trying to bridge the gap. That's it.
Too many times, we say all the time, too many times people don't know how to communicate. They just don't know how to talk to one another.
Yeah.
And we do this podcast because we want people to, we want this to spark up conversation. Mm-hmm. We do the live and we get under people's skin because we want you to not just talk to us and be upset with us about the things we bring up. We want you to go talk to the people in your life and say, hey, I heard these two dudes talking about this. What do y'all think?
Yeah.
And you'll be surprised at how many different opinions and thoughts you get about that subject, and even your partner, your friends, or whoever it may be. That's who you need to be talking to.
Yeah, and when you're talking to your partner, talk to them. Don't talk at them.
I heard these guys say this. How do you feel about it? Do you agree with them? You do? Well, why? What is it that you agree with? What do you disagree with? And that could be a dinner conversation, but you have to be willing to have the conversation without being accusatory and not letting the partner who you have the conversation with pay a penalty for being honest with you.
That's hard.
Most people don't
not be
right,
but it is.
Most people don't want to have tough conversations because the other end of the tough conversation are consequences that shouldn't be.
Yes, and there is a necessary need to be right, which sucks.
Stop making it a debate and continue and just make it a conversation.
It's not a first place, second place.
I don't have to win. What are we winning? If you and I argue, what are we winning? Or if you ask me a question, I have to pause and say, do I want to answer this truthfully, or do I want to sugarcoat it because I don't want to be in the doghouse?
Right.
Or can we have this conversation, agree to disagree, and nobody pay the price of having to sleep on the couch? You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the problem. People get heated over stuff that is just a general conversation.
Yeah. And do you know that getting to the end of that conversation and having a better understanding of your partner is winning? Oh, there's a thought.
Light bulb. Right? Dude. Too many people don't understand that concept.
No.
The need to be right and the need to always be right is a broken mentality. Mm-hmm. The inability to say I'm sorry is a broken mentality. Mm-hmm. The inability to take accountability is a broken mentality. Mm-hmm. The lack of vulnerability is a broken mentality. Mm-hmm. Figure out what's causing it, and then figure out ways to heal from it. It's not gonna happen overnight.
Was it Socrates that was like, oh, I don't know everything. He was just like, I don't know anything, because he had the space to want to know more.
Yeah. The need to be right is a problem. The want to be right, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But the need to be right and to be right all the time is an issue.
And it's not just broken, it's going to break some shit up.
Yes.
It's like, well, you can be right all by yourself.
Because it will go both ways. Mm-hmm. That shit is not cool when, yes, but that need to always have
The final say.
The last word, always needing the last word is a broken mentality.
That's more like Final Destination.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, but it's and whether it's a man or a woman. Now we're not being specific to one gender. This is just these thoughts as they're coming. You know, think about what you do on a day-to-day basis that you may not even realize are because there are unhealed breaks in your past. Mm-hmm. Things that you have not really gotten over that you carry like a heavy backpack with you everywhere you go. And it's that dying by 1,000 cuts. You just have these little wounds that just keep getting opened because you won't allow yourself to heal from any of them.
And don't allow that past to just throw it back at the past, saying, oh, my family of origin or whatever it is, if you're not willing to move past that. If you're just going to live in that space so it can identify who you are, well, you're going to be back there. You're never going to move forward.
Don't be 60 years old talking about I still have daddy issues. Daddy's gone. You know, friend of mine has issues with her mom. You know, and you're 50-something. At some point in time, why does your mom still control your life? And not that they control you financially, blah, whatever. No. Your mom controls your thoughts because you continue to care too much about what this person thinks when you know y'all don't like each other.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Stop letting them affect the way you move. You're an adult. Get past it. Mm-hmm. And if you can't get past it, go get help and figure out why.
Right. If things are holding space in your brain,
it's holding you back.
It's holding you back. You got to figure out how to let that go.
You know, if you're 20 years old and you got daddy issues, different. Yeah. You're 50 and you got daddy issues, the fuck is your problem? Mm-hmm. Daddy's not affecting you at 50. Daddy might not be around. Right. So why is it still, because you didn't get the daddy love when you were a child, you're going to let 40 years go by and you still haven't healed that trauma? Stop looking for a daddy.
Yeah. Like you got a Menendez.
You stop looking for a daddy. You know?
Oh.
You're a grown-ass man and you got mommy issues. Your mom is controlling who you date, who you do. Stop. That's right. Not... Stop saying I wasn't loved by my mother, so I treat women poorly. No, you treat women poorly because you're a piece of shit. Don't blame it on your mother. Right. You ain't dating your mama.
Right. Or your dad.
Yeah.
Let alone, Dad told me to be this way. Don't blame
he didn't.
Your dad. No, he didn't.
Well, I saw my dad cheating on his wife, and he's got 10 babies, mom, whatever. So that's the only role model I have. You chose to make him your role model. Mm-hmm. Because nowadays you see men all over the place, your coaches, your teachers, your whoever, because you're making an excuse saying you get to be a shithead because your dad was a shithead. That shit ain't genetic, dude. That's a broken mentality.
You a broken bitch.
Seriously, man.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah, that shit's just ridiculous. That's just fucking ridiculous, man. Yeah, dude. It's dumb. So stop blaming other people because you're broken. And I'm going to do you one better.
I want to hear it.
No one can break you without you letting them.
Mm-hmm.
They can do shit to you that will make you feel broken. But you only stay in that space because you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
The minute you decide I'm going to heal, you heal. The body wants to heal. Only our bodies are built to heal, go through shit, break, heal, go through shit, break, heal. That's how we get through life. If you stay in a broken state, it's not because your body can't heal. It's because you won't allow it to heal. You're holding on to it because you like the way that brokenness feels. Mm-hmm. Whether it's comfort, whether it's, I don't know how to feel good, so I'm going to stay in a shitty state because this is my comfort zone.
You're just a sadomasochist.
Yeah, dude.
You just keep going down that road.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man. Oh, let me keep cutting myself.
Don't live in that broken state. And if you do, stop complaining about how you need other people to help fix you. Because that's that bullshit.
God helps those that help themselves.
Yes, sir. Anyway, man, I think we've sort of beat this one good. I hope you guys are learning something from this. I hope you guys.
We brought a mallet today.
Yeah. I hope you guys are gonna take this one back, replay it, listen to it, learn something from it, strike up conversations with people around you, and really understand the difference between broke and broken.
Right.
They're not the same thing. Coach KJ, where they gonna find you, man?
They're gonna find me at Coach KJ Knows on Instagram. Excuse me, and CoachKJ.com. Where you got you, Doc?
They're gonna find me at Leonel Hunt on Instagram. You're gonna also find me at huntspine.com. Go check out thehuntfoundation.org. YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Go check us out everywhere. At SOE_podcast is the IG. PodcastSOE.com is the website. Go check everything out. Coach
I
and
like
Doc.
him say it because it gets a tongue twister for me.
Sometimes we forget. But it's listed in the bio. Just go check it out. All right, man. We out.